Hi everyone, I'm Jack the Rambling Raconteur, and I hope that you're doing well, or at least as well as you can be these days, frankly. Despite my prolonged absence from regularly posting on BookTube with just everything happening in life, here at my home, in our family, in the world, and some of it good, some of it frankly scary. Despite my prolonged absence, I do have an axe to grind, and it's my Viking battle axe. Because it's spring and that means it's time for Sagalong, one of my all-time favorite BookTube events, sort of a niche BookTube event, but one that is it's just fantastic. It is an event that focuses on reading, appreciating, celebrating the literary culture of medieval Iceland. The Icelandic sagas. It's almost incredible. It's almost unparalleled that a population of that size, over a time span of that period, produced so many texts and so many diverse texts that really examine their own history, their own culture, their own mythology, and work through this bridge. Frankly, in my mind, in reading, it's a bridge between sort of the classical and ancient mythologies and the poetic epics that we have from various cultures towards the more realistic novels that exist pick up in the 18th, 19th, 20th century, and that so many people read and love now. And the medieval Icelandic sagas are sort of in between there. There's something that is deeply realistic and deeply realized about the characters, the historical persons and personages that are in these sagas. They feel very human and three-dimensional much of the time. And that's something that's almost unparalleled in medieval literature, period. But there's also a something behind the curtain, something, in the sky or in the woods or underneath the water that is there, that's lurking, that feels a little different, feels a little off kilter, a little strange, that takes us back to an older time. And frankly, the sagas themselves are just fantastic. If you've never read any, this is a great event to start getting acquainted with an incredible literary tradition. And just understanding how much there is to appreciate in it. There are sagas that are very short, that tell almost a contained adventure tale. There are other sagas that focus on a single individual or a single family and really develop that and let us see the world through that person's eyes, through that person's experiences. Njal's Saga or Egil's Saga do that in very different ways. There are also sagas that are these sprawling sagas dealing with multiple generations, all sorts of individuals within a couple of families, and seeing what's happening to them. And so there are so many different ways to get into these sagas and appreciate them. My window in was sort of backwards. As a child, I absolutely loved Djale's Norse Gods and Giants. I read it and reread it over, and I had a friend from grade school. We would alternately check the book out and then just share it with each other, and we're constantly reading and rereading it and drawing from it. And that got me into reading more about like anything I could find from the era. So I was reading Norwegian folktales on one end, but I was also dipping into some of the sagas. In fact, one of the sagas we're going to read this spring in April. And so there's so much to appreciate in these sagas. They're incredibly accessible in some ways, and yet they do take us deeper into human history, frankly. And I'm very excited. Vin over at Revenant Reads is sort of going to be the first man, jumping out of the boat to explore this new land. He's taking the lead for us with Sagalong this year, and I really appreciate him. He's sort of combined it with his Historathon, which is great. But we do have some other great folks. We have Raina Reads, Debs over at Raina Reads. Steve Donahue's going to be joining. Scott Danielson. I'll be along for the journey. And I'm excited because we're dipping into two sagas that are both pretty short. They're each about 20 pages. And they're different sagas. They deal with sort of this same idea or location in some ways. But they each have a different focus and are going to sort of parallel each other in interesting ways, but diverge in interesting ways. And those will be the Saga of the Greenlanders and Eirik the Red Saga. As a group, they're sometimes referred to as the Vinland Sagas. And so in the massive Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition, they're both translated by Kneva Kuntz, and they're pretty solid. Eirik the Red Saga doesn't just focus on Eirik the Red. There's more going on. The Saga of the Greenlanders gives a more, I don't want to say diffuse, but a more expansive, I would say, approach. So each is about 20 pages. We're going to be reading these in April. I will probably post separate short videos on each saga. I know Vin was saying he's going to probably post one at the end of the month. I think some folks are going to do that. I'll probably do a short video on the Saga of the Greenlanders, maybe the second or third week of April, and then one on Eirik the Red Saga at the end of the month, just because I think each can be sort of treated as its own separate piece. And honestly, reading these two as a pair in April will give you a sense to see which type of saga do you appreciate more, because there are some that are more like the Sagas of the Greenlanders, and there are some that are more like Eirik the Red Saga. And just being able to get into that and experience that, I think is good. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what the rest of the hosts take from each of these. I think for many of us, they're going to be rereads, but this will be fun. I also have, if you've ever seen this, my sort of pseudo folio edition of the Icelandic sagas, which is really fantastic. Has a beautiful map of Greenland here and some of the lands that were sailed to, and then this on the front piece, we have Iceland. But this will be fun, and this is a different translation. But as I said, it's going to be exciting to jump in and explore these and draw some other literary parallels, some works that explicitly reference these or that parallel these in their own fascinating ways. So as again, I said, I hope everyone is doing well. Please comment below, join us, join the discussion, join the voyage for the sagas. This is a great place to immerse yourself and explore a new world. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you.